Sanders has slammed former Vice President Kamala Harris's 2024 presidential campaign, accusing it of being heavily influenced by wealthy people. Gee, who would have thought? Here's what he had to say.
One of the reasons, in my view, that Kamala Harris lost this election is she had too many billionaires telling her not to speak up for the working class of this country.
Well, no, I don't think that's, I like Kamala, she's a friend of mine, but her core consultants, were heavily influenced by very wealthy people.
John, I think Bernie Sanders is absolutely spot on. She had all these wealthy mouthpieces. Remember the actors like George Clooney, singer Beyonce. None of these people represented middle America.
Well, here's the problem, Danica. The Democrats are the party of the wealthy. It's not just Kamala Harris. And by the way, Bernie Sanders himself is wealthy. The best demographic the voters have, that the Democrats have in terms of voting, is people with incomes over $200,000 a year. They're always denouncing billionaires, but the reality is that most billionaires who are at all active in politics are on the side of the Democrats. It is the Republicans who are now the party of the working class. The Republicans have figured that out and they're proud of it. But the Democrats really haven't yet come to grips with it, and they don't really have a good way to talk about it.
No, clearly, but you're right about Bernie Sanders, but for once I actually agree with him. He's not wrong, I feel like, what he just said.
The Democrats are in deep trouble. Even CNN is reporting that their brand has the same appeal as Cracker Barrel's.
Democratic brand right now has about the appeal with the American voter as the Cracker Barrel rebrand has with the American consumers. Bad, bad, bad. What are you doing? Oh, my goodness gracious. What are we talking about here in terms of big party registration changes in the key swing states? Let's look at the key 4 swing states that, in fact, do keep track of registration by party. Look, the Republican Party is in their best position at this point in the cycle since at least 2005 in all 4 of these key battleground states.
Pretty savage, but it's true. Donald Trump is 7 months into his second term, and he just set a record for presiding over a marathon cabinet meeting at the White House. This one went for 3 hours and 17 minutes. The entire meeting was televised. In Biden's first 7 months, he held 1 cabinet meeting. Trump has had 7.
I think this. You have not had this happen for 4 years. You sat and you'd ask one question to Biden, and it was always the ice cream question, right? What flavor ice cream do you like best? I like vanilla. And that was the end of the conference. I think now we've done enough. These people are very busy. I want to just thank, this is the greatest, this has never been done before. First of all, a cabinet meeting was sacred. You'd never let the fake news media in. But the fake news media isn't all fake. It's a lot of it is, but it's not all. I think it's a great thing. I think maybe it's going to be done in the future. I hope it's going to be done.
We have a far more entertaining man in the White House, and Donald Trump covered everything from the National Guard troops in DC, suggesting that crime is going to be a key issue in the midterm elections, to the breaking entertainment news that Taylor Swift and Travis Kelce are engaged.
Well, I wish him a lot of luck. No, I think he's a great player. I think he's a great guy, and I think that she's a terrific person. So I wish them a lot of luck.
Joining me now is filmmaker and commentator Ami Horowitz. Ami, why are the Democrats like this? Land acknowledgements, they're an issue in this country. How are they perceived in the US?
Yeah, not well, Rita. Look, first of all, if you're going to pick somebody who is going to speak that language, pick somebody with the proper accent. I mean, she sounds like somebody who learned 6 months of 5th grade French trying to speak in Paris. I mean, my Spanish sounds better than that. Also, I want to be clear about something. Look, there were people living in that Minnesota area 10,000 years before the Dakota Ayote did, right? I guess they lost their Native American status as well. And had the Dakota Ayote, how were they a dominant force in Minnesota? Well, they warred for 100 years with other Native American tribes in that area to have supremacy over the area. I don't know why we've deemed it that they're the Native people who took over. Well, they did. They took over primarily through war. Not that there's anything particularly wrong with that. That's just the way life was back then, right? Okay, now that we got out of the way kind of the technical aspects of the failure of the Democrats on that particular issue, the practical effects. I mean, what are they doing? They can't be normal. They don't have the ability. It's like they're back in a time warp of 2024. Nobody wants this, right? They just can't do this thing right. If they're planning on running this back, right, running the same plays they had from 2024 now, they're simply going to lose. I thought they were going to change their stripes. You heard some Democrats saying, like, there's a Democratic think tank that said, look, there's a bunch of words we should not be using, triggering and right, and white supremacy. And I thought, okay, they get it. You know what? They just don't.
No, they don't. That was actually very interesting where they had that long list of words they should purge from their vocabulary, but it's all they know. They just keep going back to this craziness.